delay, but Persephone Martinez is a dynamic entrepreneur, author, and business professional renowned for her expertise in market research, business development, website design, and project management. With a remarkable track record of success in leading organizations, she excels in creating impactful entrepreneurial programs and executing complex community projects. As a program coordinator at UTRGV Center for Innovation and Commercialization, Persephone pioneers innovative initiatives to support early-stage entrepreneurs, including the Market Lab, Battle of the Brands, and Market Mix, which was so much fun. It's a focus group event. You gotta try it. She's established key partnerships within the university and woven captivating narratives to guide entrepreneurs towards success. Notably, Persephone Martinez's work at the Market Lab has greatly benefited over 50 entrepreneurs, enhancing their market research practices and propelling them closer to their business objectives. As an entrepreneur herself, Persephone actively manages her business, providing invaluable experience in ideation and early stage development. Persephone is a UTRGV graduate with a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship and innovation. She's currently pursuing her master's in engineering management at Southern New Hampshire University. Her commitment to entrepreneurship and her relentless pursuit of excellence makes her a valued asset in the world of entrepreneurship and innovation. And I would like to thank you so much, Persephone, for hanging tight while this technical difficulty was going on. And without further ado, I give you Persephone Martinez.
So worried about yourself, right? Like all the things you do. But I love everything that I do. Like one of the things that I enjoy the most is assisting entrepreneurs in their journey to entrepreneurship. So I wanted to ask you guys, just so I can know like who's here. Is any of you interested in starting a business? Like, are you an inspiring entrepreneur? Raise your hand. Oh, awesome, perfect. How many of you actually have a business? Like it's already running, you're already in business. Okay, cool, Christy, so we might ask you some questions. So when Vivian told me that she wanted to have a lunch and learn to talk about where entrepreneurs begin their journey to finance, right? To finance their business. I was thinking, well, you can't finance your business unless you know how to finance yourself, right? So like, in order for you to know, like, to make decisions based on your business and the finances, you first have to learn how to manage your own money. And so that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about personal finance, but in entrepreneur edition. Oh, we're gonna do whatever the computer says. So something for aspiring entrepreneurs that I would like to recommend, and I'm going to be giving you tips today on finance, but also as an aspiring entrepreneur. If you don't have a website yet, if you don't have your CV online, I highly recommend that you do so. I would like for you to start even just a landing page. You can use websites like Wix, they have templates. Another website development is Strikingly. Strikingly is super easy to use. You can use Strikingly to create a one-pager like in 5 minutes. Literally, you just put your information. Something that I would like for you to talk about as an aspiring entrepreneur are any projects that you've worked on. So if you're currently employed, you're working for a company, what have you done for that company? Have you, developed any new like projects and new programs? Like, how have you assisted the company? So this is something that as an aspiring entrepreneur, it's super important to have a website of all the things that you've done. So like for myself, I've done a lot of website design. So I've developed websites for some businesses, like Vision Well, Outsource MX. I created a landing page on Canva. So if you're not using Canva, you should check out Canva. Canva is a super easy way to develop a one-pager, like a landing page. This is where we have all of our Market Lab entrepreneurs and what we do. And it's really like a click and drop, right? It's like super easy to do. So Canva is one. I've also developed websites for companies like organizations like the Rio Grande Valley Angel Network. So if you've ever heard that there's an angel network here in the Valley, it's the Rio Grande Valley Angel Network. And we actually here at the UTRGV CIC work very closely with them. But also like, if you're not online, your business is not alive. If you're not online, if it's not visible on social media, you don't have a website, right? Especially you as yourself, if you're not visible online, then how do people know like what you do? So it's very important to have a website as an inspiring entrepreneur, to make sure that everybody that is looking you up, you know, and if you're there, you're like, I'm trying to start a business, the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna look you up on LinkedIn, right? So try to be somewhere online, try to have a website, try to be on social media, try to be on LinkedIn. If you scan my QR code, you can go to my LinkedIn and I'd be super happy to connect with you. Okay, so now let's talk about money. And before we get into the different ways that entrepreneurs kind of start getting money for their business, can you guys tell me what are some ways that entrepreneurs start getting money to start their business? Maybe you've done it yourself, maybe you've heard of it. So what are some ways that we can get money for our business?
Local grants.
Grants, yes.
From your family.
From your family. Loan.
I did it myself.
You did it yourself, bootstrapping. Awesome. Any others? Cool. Actually, according to Forbes, these are the top ways that entrepreneurs actually find money for their business. So bootstrapping, you know, that means that you're using your own money, you're using your own savings in order to finance your startup. Friends and family, you're asking your friends, you know, and your family like, hey, can you invest in this business? But that can get a little muddy, right? Because, you know, you ask for $5,000 and you're like, hey, I have a really, you know, great business idea, this and that. But most entrepreneurs struggle to make profits in their first year. So if you're asking family and friends for money, that can be very difficult because you don't know where you're gonna be a year from now. You don't know where your family is gonna be a year from now. And a year from now, they might be like, hey, remember those $5,000, right? So another thing is bank loans. And so for a bank, what do you need to get a loan at the bank? What is the first thing that they ask you?
What?
Financial? Anybody else? What's the first thing that they ask you when you go and try to take out a loan?
Your credit.
Credit. Yes, they want to know your credit, right? They want to know like, how are you at managing your own money? How are you at, when you do get a credit line, are you credit worthy? Like, do you make your payments on time? Are you paying back your debt? And so SBA loans, and I'll click on this one here, because I think it's really important for entrepreneurs to know about the different places that you can start looking for money when you're starting your business. So the SBA has 3 different types of loans. They have 7A loans, 504 loans, and microloans. But they all have stipulations. They're not just, you know, you have an awesome idea, you apply and you get the money. Some of them, you have to have collateral. You have to have something to kind of back up that money that you're getting, right? In others, you have to qualify at a bank first before they actually, you know, back up the investment. And so they all come with stipulations, so it's really difficult to kind of think that there's a place where you can just go and get money and start a business. There isn't. They all come with something. They all have in common that you have to save money or you have to work on your credit. And all of that starts with personal finance. So regardless of what kind of loan or what kind of investment you're gonna get, you still need to work on your finances. And so that's what we're gonna do today. So in money management, basically what you're doing is you're establishing an emergency fund. This is what I guarantee, hold on. But this is what I recommend for those of you starting a business. This is what you should start concentrating on right now. Like right now, you're here and I'm super happy that you're here because you're investing in yourself and you're starting with your personal finance. And so this is what we're gonna actually do today. So the first tip that I have for aspiring entrepreneurs is that you should have a savings. Financial managers or financial managers will tell you that as an entrepreneur, you should have 6 to 12 months of personal expenses. So I don't know about you, but if your expenses are like $2,000 or $3,000 a month, That's a lot for 6 months, right? Now you're looking at like $15,000 that you have to save. And now your new business is starting to look like, well, maybe that's a little far away, right? But in reality, we need your goals, we need your savings to be realistic. They need to actually, like, you need to be actually able to do them. So we can't tell you like, you have to have 12,000, you have to have $15,000. Like first, let's start a savings, like let's create a goal where we're actually developing a goal for us to just get started on saving for our business. So in the first, if you open up your booklet, we're gonna go to goals. And here, your first goal as an aspiring entrepreneur is to have a savings. And so I want you to think about how much money do you think that you can actually save? Or how much money would you think like is good enough for you to kind of start? For me, when I first started my business, I really wanted to have $5,000 in my savings. I felt that $5,000 to me was, you know, if I start this business and it doesn't go well, at least I have $5,000 to kind of cover me so I can make the payments of my debt. And so for me, it was $5,000. So for you, I want you to think about a goal, like how much money would be good for you to kind of have in the bank that would kind of be a backup for you, right? You're about to start this business, so just write down a number that you think you would be able to save to kind of back you up. And so in the first line, you're gonna write, in your first line, you're gonna write emergency fund. So for me, at that time, it was $5,000. And I wanted to save $5,000 in 8 months. Oh, wow, typo. But I wanted to save $5,000 in 6 months. When I first started my business, I started it because I was having a hard time finding a job. Like I had graduated with my associate's degree. I didn't have anywhere to like actually go. I didn't know where I fit in. As an entrepreneur, it's kind of hard to kind of fit into a business because you know a lot of things, you do a lot of things, you're really good at a lot of things, but finding where you fit is really difficult. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start a business and I'm gonna see how this goes. But I knew I couldn't start while living paycheck to paycheck, right? I couldn't be like barely making it every week and then here I go, gonna launch a full-on business. So then I started saving. I started putting away a little bit of money every month before I actually launched. So your goals have to be smart. They have to be specific, they have to be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you guys wanna write down how much money you want to save before you start your business, and then divide that by the number of months that you want to save it from. So like, let's think ahead. You're gonna wanna start your business, like how far along from now do you wanna start your business? Does anybody have like a time period that you're looking to start your business? Like next year in April or something like that. So write that down and put it on your goal sheet. And you know, talking about finance, it's not very easy, like talking about it, because this means that you have to like open up all of the spending that you've done, you know, these past few months. You have to really look at your money. You have to see that you spent more than you made last month and you made some bad decisions, right? But don't be afraid to look at your expenses every month. I literally do that every month. I go in and I look at how much money I'm making and how much money I'm spending. I have to do that because if I don't go into my bank account, if I don't look at all of the things that I've spent on, I'm not gonna know where I need to cut back on. I'm not gonna know, you know, oh, I'm not gonna have enough for my bills because I'm over here spending on going out to eat or doing something, right? So in the next worksheet that we're going to do is we're gonna look at the income worksheet. So here, privately, I want you to write down your income. I want you to put there, how much money do you bring in? And so for those of you that are business owners, don't think about your business yet. Right now, we're talking about personal finance. So think about the money that you make right now, you yourself. If your business is your source of income, then you can go ahead and write that down. Write down how much you pay yourself. from your business. And for those of you aspiring entrepreneurs, write down how much you made, the total income, how much money is actually coming in. And now for your expenses, I want you to think about your fixed expenses. These are expenses that you have every single month and they're due on a certain day. Like my car payment, my rent, my light bill, my internet, my phone, like all of those, they're all due on a certain day every month. So I want you to write those down. I want you to write down your fixed expenses here. So what you do on your income worksheet is that you're gonna write down your income and you're gonna subtract your expenses. And that's gonna leave you with your net income. That's how much money you have left over every month. So when we go into looking at, our goal previously, like for me, for example, I wanted to save $625 a month to reach my goal in 6 months. Does this make sense? Did my income minus my expenses give me enough net income to save for that emergency fund? So think about that when you're working on that worksheet. Okay, so here I put an example. So let's say your income is $2,000 and you work freelance, so you get $500. So you bring in $2,500 and your expenses are $1,500. So now you have a net income of $1,000. This is money that's just left over. From this net income, we're gonna use a strategy to budget. So we're gonna budget these $1,000. And we're gonna put this into little envelopes. I don't know if you've seen that they have little binders with little like envelopes and stuff like that. Same thing, except you're doing it on paper. And so your envelopes, they all represent where you're gonna put that money. Where is that extra money that you have every month? Where is it gonna go? And if you don't do the budget strategy, you're gonna be spending this $1,000 on anything because it's there, right? So you're just like, oh yeah, I have enough money, let's go out and eat. Oh yes, I have enough money, let me buy these shoes, I had a rough week, I'm gonna go buy that dress, So I get it. But the whole point of personal finance is for you to actually pay attention to where your money's going. Every single penny, that's how important it is. You need to account for every single dollar that you have. So here, everybody always tells me when I used to do financial literacy, everybody tells me, well, no, you're telling me that now I can't spend any money on myself. Now you're telling me I can't go out. Now you're telling me, I can't buy me my Starbucks in the morning. And so, sorry. But no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to budget yourself, to limit yourself. You can still have those things every now and then, but not all the time, right? And so when you're looking at, you have $1,000 and you're dividing this into your envelopes, decide what your envelopes are gonna be. For me, it is always savings, needs, things that come up, debt. Even though I have my credit card bills and those are in my expenses and I pay those right monthly, I still put extra money towards that debt. Because I know that just those extra $50 or those extra $100 are gonna get me out of the debt faster, as opposed to me just making the minimum payment. So whenever you have a credit card, I don't ever recommend that you just make the minimum payment. Always put more than the minimum payment, because if not, that's gonna go on for a very long time, and interest rates in credit cards are like 28%, 19%, and so that's tough, right? So if you do have credit card debt right now, that's okay. I always say, if you're going to have, if you're gonna have envelopes, one of them should be for debt, especially if you have a lot of it. So put extra money for your debt. And then as you see, I have an envelope for fun, right? So I still have fun, I still can't, I have boys. I have 2 boys that are my world, and they always want something. They want Vans shoes, they want Converse shoes, they want, and so I'm always how I'm gonna put a little bit away until next month so that I can get that, right? And so or they want to go to an event, or they want to hang out with their friends, or they got this award or whatever that we really want to celebrate. So regardless, every month I still have an envelope for fun. I just can't do that, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all alive, we're all here, we only have one life, and so we shouldn't be suppressing ourselves from enjoying our lives. That's not what budgeting is about. What it's about is just, making sure that I have enough to pay my bills and making sure that I am managing my money correctly. Okay, so before you start your business, something that you should really keep in mind is that you should work on your debt. Because your business is not always going to be profitable the first year, the second year, maybe not the third year. So in those few years, you're using money, you're spending money, you're making money, but it's going back into your business, right? So something you don't want to do is be in a lot of debt and then start a business where you're now bringing in more debt. So something that I would recommend is that if you are in debt, if you do have a lot of credit cards, if you do have a lot of school loans and things like that, I recommend you taking care of that, at least, minimize it before you actually start wanting to start your business. Okay. So I actually do this every month. I literally do my income and my expenses every single month. So as soon as November starts, I'm doing this worksheet all the time. How much money am I bringing in? What are my bills? How much money is left over? And then I go in and I do my budgets, I do my envelope. But if this is not something that you'd like to do, like maybe, writing it down on a piece of paper is not for you, then I recommend that you use some budgeting apps. 5 years ago, I had started going to SCC. I quit my job and I had $5,000 in savings. I had just started learning how to save money. And I quit my job and I said, I'm gonna go to school. And so I was using those $5,000, meanwhile using school loans to kind of pay everything. And so that was really difficult for me. But something that I started to do was budgeting, and I started using apps to budget my money. I wasn't making a lot of money. So I know, like, when a lot of people tell me, I'm not making enough, how can I save? I really wasn't making a lot of money. And then being a single mom with 2 boys, I really wasn't making any money. So when I started using these apps, I started realizing, like, wow, there's something actually out there that can help me manage my money better so that I know where it's going. So one of them that you can use is called Mint, and that one is free, and that one connects to your finances. So if you don't want to go in there and actually like write down everything that you're spending on, if you just sign into Mint and you connect it to your bank account, oh gosh, there's like a little downloading sign where it's like downloading all of like your bank statements and stuff and entering in there. When you see that little chart, oh man, I just kind of look away and I'm like, okay, it's almost done. And I'm kind of just like, oh gosh. Because then you look at like everything that you spent on like transportation, right? All the gas, and when you look at like, oh, well, restaurants or eating out and stuff, oh man, that's tough to look at. But yeah, so once you do, and once you get kind of like, you need to start getting like, making it easier on yourself to look at it and to be there for it, because if you don't, that's when things can get a little bit out of hand. So I recommend that you use one of these apps. The one that literally, and I will say it changed my life, I'm not playing, it literally changed my life, was Expense IQ. So I was looking into budgeting apps. I knew that I had to budget. I didn't know what to do. I found Expense IQ, and that one let me put like my bills, my fixed expenses. It let me do envelopes. It let me do budgets, and it gave me a little chart. It was free. I had to input all the information. At that time, I didn't have that many bills, so it didn't take too long. But that one really is what kind of changed like my whole mindset on money management. Literally, it all started from there. So 82% of businesses fail because of cash flow mismanagement, meaning that you're making money, and sometimes as an entrepreneur, you're so like into your business, it's happening so fast that you're just like, oh yeah, wow, I just made, $5,000, or I just made $1,000, and all that sounds great. But are you making money? If you're not managing it, if you're not looking at where it's going, are you making money? Just because money's coming in doesn't mean that you're being profitable. 38% of businesses fail because they run out of cash. So let's say you worked on your personal finance, and then let's say you worked on your credit, everything went great, and then you got a loan, but you only asked for $10,000. Meanwhile, this business has ended up costing you 30. You ran out of money. You didn't know how to finance the business, you didn't know how to finance yourself, you weren't sure how much money do I actually need for this venture, you hadn't thought about that yet, right? So something else that you could do, not just managing your personal finance, is you also need to, once you start your business, you have to have a business account. A lot of entrepreneurs that I've worked with, they don't have accounts set up yet. They don't have a business account. It's all in just one account. Not if this is your bread and butter, but if you are working, right, and you are bringing in money, but then you also have a business, make sure that those two are separate. Because if not, you won't know how much money you're actually making. You're just taking from one to pay the other, and then you're taking from your personal to pay the business. And that is going to clash. You're never going to know, how much money you're making. So I always tell entrepreneurs, open a business account. If you're going to start a business, open a business account. The next thing I tell entrepreneurs is to make sure that you do accounting. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start accounting, they go and pay for QuickBooks. And I'm sure that QuickBooks is great, but you should probably get like a certification in QuickBooks. You should probably take some classes, because QuickBooks is no joke. Like it's very intense. And so when you're first starting a business, you need things to be simple. You need things to be easy to kind of understand. And for me, as a mom, as a full-time employee, I run programs and I run a small business. I can't afford to be like, yeah, let me sit down for 6 hours to be on QuickBooks and do my accounting. I just can't do it. So one thing that I discovered that was really amazing was Wave. I don't know, have y'all ever heard of Wave? No. Oh my gosh, I swear, it's like the best thing. I've even tried telling my director about it. I'm like, we should use Wave. I just love Wave, it's just so easy. Wave makes it super easy to manage your money. Like, it literally tells you, so, if you sell something, for example, for myself, I own a small business, it's called VPS Cleaning Service. It's a residential cleaning company. I've owned it for 2 years. I categorize it as a lifestyle business. It's a lifestyle business means I'm not looking for it to grow, expand, or commercialize. Obviously, I have a lot of things going on. So it's doing really well right now. It's making me a little bit of money, and I'm okay with that, right? And so in the VPS Cleaning business, what I do on Wave is I always create invoices on Wave. And on the invoices, I put how much I'm charging, how much when it's due and things like that. And it's all very simple and easy to use. In Wave, I can also do payroll. So you can pay to have Wave do the payroll, and I believe it's like about $5 per person. But the way that I do it on Wave, because I'm frugal, I just go on Wave and I categorize it under payroll. So I put there, who I'm paying, and I put how much. And then at the end, I go and run a little report that says, what expenses are you trying to look at? And I put payroll, and then they all come out. So now I know how much I spent on payroll. Another thing is that Wave automatically does all of your income statements. So the profit and loss, the cash flow, your balance sheet, it automatically generates it off of all of the business that you're doing. So if you can do 2 things on Wave, create invoices, you can get paid, and then you can pay others through Wave. If that's your business model, if that's how you're starting, start off on Wave, and then Wave's gonna do everything else. And then guys, it's free. Like, it's literally the best. Okay, so then, the next thing I wanna talk to you guys about is credit. How many of you guys actually monitor your credit, like, all the time? Every now and then? Okay, great. So where do you go to monitor your credit?
My bank account has it, Discover has it, American Express.
Okay, everybody? Okay, cool, yes. So before you can fix any issues, you need to know what they are. So they're gonna deny you for credit, and you're gonna get that card that says, unfortunately, we were not able to approve you. And they kind of give you like a little mini explanation. If that's happening to you, you wanna get your credit report. Yes, the banks will show you kind of like a little bit of a snapshot, or like the most relevant information, or like the first couple of things on your credit report that are relevant, it will show you that. But in reality, you should get your entire credit report. So yes, so I do use Credit Karma, so when I started managing my money, I downloaded Credit Karma, immediately started going in there. But I want you guys to know that you can go into every single where is it, right here, into every single credit bureau to get your credit report. And you are allowed to get a free credit report once every year. So Credit Karma and most banks, they have, I believe it's Experian and Equifax, but they don't have TransUnion. And so they all have different information. Some of them might be the same, but others have different ones. So if there's something really affecting your credit, you might not see it because you're just going off the ones from the bank or the ones from Credit Karma. So I really recommend you going into one of these so that you can see exactly what is on your credit report. So for example, if you go to Experian, you can just click on get your free report and your FICO score. Oh, the internet's working now, that's great. And so then you just put the last 4 digits of your social and your phone number, and it's gonna ask you a couple questions to verify, right? That it's you. And so what I did when I started working on my credit, because you can go and get somebody to help you with your credit, right? You know, you pay like $300 or $500 to get that. But you can also start on your own. You know, once you print out your actual credit report, I would recommend that you go one by one into every single thing that's on your credit report and figure out if it's actually you. There's gonna be some things on there that are not even your name and it's under your credit report. So those are things that you can immediately report. And how can you report them? You can report them through mail, or if you're on Credit Karma and it comes up, you can actually report through Credit Karma. Look at things like, is it your name? Is it your address? Is it the right state? You know, it might say like, oh, T-Mobile Ohio, and you do have T-Mobile, so you're like, oh, that's fine. But is it really yours? Like, call and find out, is this really your account? And I tell you this because I found like 5 different items that did not have my name. Actually, I had Stephanie Martinez, and so I was like, oh, okay, maybe they just misspelled my name. But no, it was like totally new accounts that I had never even opened. And so when I called to find out, I'm like, what is this? And they were like, oh yeah, you know, you have 6 lines with Verizon, and I don't like Verizon. But I was like, what, 6 lines with Verizon? Oh my gosh. And so these are all things that like we kind of put it away because it takes a lot of time. But if you're really wanting to work on your credit, that's like the first place that you need to start, is looking at your credit report, every single one of them. Yes, it will take you like about an hour or so, but it's really worth it. You know, make some tea, grab a panecito, put on some nice music, be like, I'm gonna look at my credit report. So yeah, a strong credit is going to help you when you're trying to get a loan for a business. This literally happened to me. I speak from experience. When I first wanted to start a business, I literally had no savings and I had no credit. And everybody was just, no, you can't, no. And I was just like, why? This is such a great business. But it wasn't until I actually started working on this, and then all of a sudden, I was getting like literal checks in the mail. And they're like, here, cash this, it's $20,000. I'm like, are they really sending me a real check? This isn't real, right? And it's like, it's real, this is a check, cash it. I was just like, oh my gosh, but it all happened because I took time to work on this, right? Like I took time to work on my personal finances. Okay, so to summarize my tips for aspiring entrepreneurs, I recommend that you build an emergency fund for a financial state. I would like to recommend that you minimize your personal debt. This is going to alleviate your financial strain. I would also like for you to create a budget and discipline yourself to follow that budget. A lot of people, you know, they start 1 month and you didn't do well and you kind of give up, and that's okay, it's gonna happen. But don't give up, try the next month, try doing it again. What did you do wrong? Look at it again. Don't give up on it. Familiarize yourself with and improve your credit score for potential business loans. Regardless, you know, in the future, if you want to buy a house, if you want to get a car, you wanna start your business regardless, like you're gonna need credit, right? Unless you're gonna save really well and you're gonna have like $100,000 in like 5 years and you could just buy everything cash. That'd be great, but that's not, that's probably not possible for most of us. So I would recommend that you start improving your credit score because that's really gonna open up a lot of doors for you. Keep business and personal finances, separate. Make sure that you don't mix the two. And of course, the last one is to always invest in your financial education. So me going, to workshops, 5 years ago, I used to work at the South Texas Literacy Coalition. And they had a financial literacy program that I think had information from like 1999 or something like that. And they were like, yeah, can you revamp this? Can you kind of, create a financial literacy program for college students? And so once I was doing that, once I was learning, I was doing research on it, I started picking up a lot of tips, right? A lot of information that I felt like, wow, I didn't even know about this. And that's what kind of made me like better at managing my money. I think like the things that everybody kind of goes for before they start managing their money is like investments, the Roth IRAs and, the Bitcoin and, all of those cool things that are like, oh yeah, if you put $1,000 in this in a month, it's gonna be like 3,000. That takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of research. That takes a lot of time. I would literally start first with your personal finances before you get to that next step. And I've worked with students, but I've also worked with community in helping them get their finances together. So if that's something that you really, really are interested in doing and you need help with that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be super happy to help you. I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs as well with financial management, and it's not something that you could do like in a group kind of thing, like we all can't get together and discuss Natalia's income, but it's something that you have to do one-on-one, right? And so if that's something that you're interested in doing, please let me know and I'd be super happy to help you. So that's my presentation, and I wanted to see if you guys had any questions.
What is your rate for your financial literacy planning? Do you have a rate?
Yes, so I actually do consultations, and so, but if somebody wanted to have a consultation, which is for 1 hour, I wouldn't charge for lunch and learn consultations, but after that, I do charge $20 to $50 an hour, just depending on how much actual financial management we need to work with. Also, if it's gonna be a personal or if it's gonna be business.
That's a good thing to know. Any other questions?
Were there any in the chat?
There are no questions in the chat. Let me ask one more time.
Oh, there's one.
Okay.
I'm asking. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Let me
So, everyone, I hope you all learned a little something about how to get started with aspiring to get your finances in order. And I wanna thank you, Persephone, come into the frame so we can get in here. I wanna thank Persephone personally because she really, really helped me and she's so learned in all of this. And so, this is a really great opportunity for everybody to take advantage. So really, truly, look her up and get on her appointment list because she's gonna be somebody that can help you out. And thank you so much, Persephone. So